Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the devotees. We welcome you to this talk show on the 4 levels of Sastric Study and PIHE. And in this talk show, we are going to have a very special guest today with us. His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Svami Maharaj. Maharaj hails from West Africa, Nigeria. His name is Khan Sannyasi, spiritual master in ISKCON, and also a teacher at VIG since many, many years. So at VIG, as you know, it's the oldest institute in ISKCON to provide Shastric study, and it provides courses at different levels: Bhakti Sadachar, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti-vaibhava, Bhakti-vedanta. At present also, in the month of June and July, many of these courses started. And more details about these courses can be found at courses@vig.org, or you can contact at the number 8979943134. It's India number. The details are shown on the screen. So now let us very heartily and gratefully welcome His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Svami Maharaj in the discussion. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for joining with us. We warmly welcome you. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. So, out of his very busy schedule, Maharaj has kindly taken out time for us. And as a teacher and also as a very deep student of the scriptures himself, Maharaj will guide us through many questions that we are going to ask him about the importance and the purpose of studying the books of Srila Prabhupada in a very systematic way. So my first question to you, Maharaj, why is it important to study Srila Prabhupada's books? Why should devotees study these books?
Namo Vishnu Pariya Krishna Krisai Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaura Mani Pucharani Nirvi Sesa Samnavadi Postacharya Satana Om Gyana Timiranda Syagyan and Salakaya Chakshulan Militam Jana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Siva Sadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, His Grace, Adoshidan Vishnu Prabhu, and the VIH team organizing this discussion. Why is it important or necessary to study Srila Prabhupada's books systematically? First of all, it is important because that is the desire. Srila Prabhupada wanted that his books to be studied. I remember he expressed his feelings openly and spending sleepless night to write these books. So you don't have interest to read it? In other words, Srila Prabhupada wrote this book not just for selling. Of course, we're selling, yes, we are selling. But one cannot be a bona fide representative if you don't know the good you are representing. If you don't know the good, the item you are giving to people, you are a cheater. How can you give something to people you don't know? You're going to distribute books. You may distribute millions, but you don't know the quality of the good you're distributing. It is very dangerous. And you say you're a cheater. So materially speaking, when people represent a particular company, a product, they are trained. The company would spend time to train the person to know exactly what is the content to the item you're going to sell. They will teach you the principle, the protocol. They will teach you the quality of the good they are producing. You know the content. So then you can be a good representative. Somebody will ask you a question from any direction you go to explain the content, even the quality of its content. We should be able to know it. This is a representative. As Srila Prabhupada himself mentioned in Bhagavatam 115, a representative is one who will not change the import of the original Guru Vyasadeva. One will not change it, one who maintains that. But how will one be able to do that if you don't know the content? You will be able to do it only if you know the content. So it is very important for us to read the Srila Prabhupada books, because he wanted that every devotee should read these books. He prepared these books for devotees, not just to sell and make money. It is for the devotees. That is one reason. Second reason, if we don't read these books systematically, how are we going to be a good devotee? What is our foundation? Prabhupada mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that ISKCON is standing on the foundation of Bhagavad Gita's philosophy, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So if our ISKCON is standing on Bhagavad Gita, and you don't know Bhagavad Gita, then how are we a devotee? How are we devotees? What would make us a devotee? If somebody asks you, what are you doing with these people? What will you say? You don't know the scripture, you don't know what they're doing. What will you say? Or somebody will challenge you, how will you defend that? So you cannot function properly if we don't study these books carefully, systematically. Systematically means we have to go step by step. That is how things are done, both materially and spiritually. We have to do things step by step. So we have A, B, C, D, and then to Z. It is not that there is A, then you go to Z, then you come to W, then you come to Y. It's not like that. We can't succeed like that. So it is very important for us to systematically study these books, because they will help us to know exactly what we're doing. Why I should be a devotee? Why should I be a devotee? There are so many religious organizations in this world. There are so many spiritual organizations. Why should I take this Krishna consciousness? Why? I should know. If you don't know, we are fools. And fools cannot make progress in anything we belong, anything we do. Only intelligent person will succeed in what we do, because intelligent person know. Yes. If you don't know the books, you don't study the book very carefully, how will we defend ourselves from Maya? Or if somebody else from a different organization challenge us, how are we going to stand? We will be able to stand if we know, if you have studied the books very carefully. Study the book very carefully, give us strength. We get strength. If we have no strength, we have no place. Just like a piece of paper, wind can blow you to any direction. Any direction, wind can blow you to any direction. You finish. But if you are a stone, wind cannot blow you. Being a stone means what? That you are solidly fixed in our philosophy. And to be able to be fixed in our philosophy, we need to systematically study these books, so that we can be philosophically sound. no speculation. We'll be able to have the spirit to convince others, because if we are not ourselves convinced, we cannot convince somebody else. Where is the potency to convince someone? Where? It's not the commodity we buy in the market. It is from the books. And Prabhupada and all the acharyas, they are inside his books. Systematically studying these books means what? We are systematically associating with all our acharyas. And ultimately, the Supreme Principle of Godhead. So these books of Prabhupada, they are not just commodities. They are living personalities in the form of books. And as we associate with the person, we will get the qualities. Similarly, associate with these books by studying them systematically, we will develop all the wonderful qualities. We will get all the blessings from all acharyas. And after all, in Bhagavad Gita describe it as Swadhyaya Jagya. Swadhyaya Jagya. Austerity of studying the scriptures. Very profound.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. You put light on two things, very important. One is personal application and the other is preaching application. So if we don't study well, we'll not be able to apply the instructions in our life nicely, and also will not be able to preach properly. That said, I just want to share one quote from Srila Prabhupada, which is regarding the same thing as what you said, Maharaj, that Prabhupada wanted the devotees to study the books very attentively. So here we have this quote by Srila Prabhupada. It's a letter to a lady, Krishna Devi Dasi, and he says, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that nobody should be neglectful of the Siddhanta, because by Siddhantic conclusion, one becomes fixed or firm in Krishna consciousness. So these Siddhantic conclusions are being mentioned in all my books, and the boys and girls in our Krishna society should now give more attention for studying the books very attentively. And to get the strength, one should chant the beads 16 rounds without fail. So here is this letter by Srila Prabhupada where he's saying that all the members of Krishna conscious movement should very attentively study his books. Coming back to the discussion, Maharaj, the next question, how should one study the books? And why is it important to study the books step by step in a systematic way, the way we do at VIHE?
The importance, the importance of studying the books is that, let us just see this way. Suppose we remove Bhagavad Gita, we remove Bhagavatam, we remove Chaitanya Charitamrita, remove all these books from this movement. What do you think this movement will be? Will you call it ISKCON again? No, it is no more ISKCON. It is Apa Sampradaya. ISKCON is gone. So these books makes the ISKCON. So this is our foundation. This is our strength. This is where we belong. It is our light to see ourselves, to see this world, to see the future, to see the spiritual world. If it is necessary for us to study them, systematically, Srila Prabhupada explains the idea, the reason why we should study Canto 1, Canto 2, all to 12, is that the main idea, Prabhupada explains, if we study our Bhagavatam from beginning, which is the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, That is how meditation starts. Meditation starts from the lotus feet. What is important in the lotus? What is important in the feet? Why the feet is important? Why not the face? If the feet is down and is the lowest, why don't we go to the top? Why are we looking at the down? What is there on the ground? It is Mother Earth that is maintaining everybody. It's Mother Earth that is maintaining. Even the birds that are flying up there, if they want to drink, they don't drink out there, except your Chataka bird. All other animals, even birds, they'll come down to come and drink water. And Mother Earth is the one maintaining. So the lotus feet of Krishna contains madhu, honey. This is not the honey we buy in the market. This is the honey that will cure the disease of the heart. Rit Roga, the lust in the heart, the disease, all the narratives in the heart. The lotus feet of Krishna contains the honey that will cure all this. Then we can gradually rise up to the 10th canto, to the 9th canto. It is the recommendation, it is the belief, it is the standard that if we systematically study these books to 9th canto, it's expected that now we are a devotee. So that when we enter into Rasa Lila, the lotus feet of Krishna, we will participate in Krishna's pastimes. So it is not a mistake. It is very scientific and carefully thought upon spiritually by our acharyas who are taught of it, those who knows the truth. So all the necessary things, all the misgivings have been done with Canto 9. Canto 9 has so many varieties of things, all mixed together. Canto 9 means what? That is our nature, material world. Complicated, confused, bewildered, frustrated, speculative. By studying the book carefully from beginning to the 9th canto, it's expected that we have become purified. And now we can enter into Canto 10 and we will be able to participate with Krishna's pastimes without difficulty. That is the expectation. That is the expectation. Many of us, why do we get disturbed when we hear Krishna's intimate dealing with his pure devotees? Because we are outsiders. So this process is to make us become insider. That we are able to participate. We are feeling with unnecessary things, all the barriers that will check our relationship with Krishna. To check all that, to remove everything, put them all outside, and give us a free chance for the sweet relationship with Krishna. So when we hear these things, we are participating, we'll enjoy, we feel at ease because we are participating. When we don't participate, we are outsiders, we will feel otherwise. Krishna do like this. Krishna do like that. Why not? Why he will not do like this? Why will not do like that? What is disturbing him? What is stopping him from that? Why he should not do it? Why not? And if it is not him, then it should be who? Who? Who should do that? Then we enter into Krishna's head, 11 and the 12th canto. So it's expected that we should become pure devotee. That's expectation. We'll be able to be purified. So there's a need for a systematic study. And that is why we should do it step by step.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Beautifully explained by you, Maharaj. That basically systematic study is for systematic purification of the heart. And as Srila Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita is like the basics. Srimad Bhagavatam is graduation, Chaitanya Charitamrita is post-graduation. So these 4 levels of courses, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti-vaibhava, Bhakti-vedanta, and Bhakti-sarvabhaum, are systematic levels of study to promote us systematically in spiritual life, so that we can be spiritual degree holders or spiritual qualification holders. So Maharaj, devotees should study definitely and do it in a systematic way. Now here comes another very interesting question, that like I did Bhakti Shastri in 2015 in VIHE, and I saw that devotees sometimes are so enthusiastic that they quickly jump onto the next course and then the next course and the next course. Then they go into the mood of just studying and studying and studying, rather than not taking out time to digest what they have studied before, to put into practice before going to the next book. So what would you say on that, Maharaj? That why is it important for us to understand the basics of the philosophy well before we continue with our further studies? And before Bhakti Shastri, VIG has launched a new course called Bhakti Sadachar, which is for newcomers who have not got any systematic training in Krishna consciousness. So why a course like Bhakti Sadachar is also very important, because it's for very new people who may not be really ready for Bhakti Shastri.
In the music, we have this word grooming the voice. They have to go for exercise. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, that's the part of the practice. But it's training the voice for what? For perfect singing. So this Bhakti Sadachar is good for grooming. If we are not properly groomed, it is very difficult for us to understand the philosophy. And even if you understand the philosophy academically, it is not going to have a significant purification in our life, because we won't be able to practice it, like we're saying. And so devotees are just studying, but no application. There's no practical realization. Why? They are not experimenting what we are studying. It's just a book, just about book alone. We are not just about books alone. We are practical devotees who will demonstrate what we are studying. Even materially speaking, there is theory, and after theory, there is practice. One would like to see what are you studying? How is it helping you in your own life as a person? How is it helping you? What are you gaining from it? We're not looking at the material benefit. We're looking at how are we becoming a better devotee from all that we are studying, all that we are, the good association we are having. Vrindavan, such a wonderful place. Look at the environment. It's so, Jamuna is there, cows are there, devotees are there, all beautiful, wonderful facility, everything all available. The scriptures are there. And we have a chance to associate with so many devotees. We wouldn't have the chance to get them in our own place. We'll get all in Vrindavan. So why devotees are not getting the experience we're supposed to have from all this we're studying? Because we're not applying. So it is better for us to apply what we are learning. That's the most important thing. Personal application. We should apply what we are learning. We should become experienced. We can't become experienced just by theory. We become experienced by practicing that. So, but Bhakti Sadachara, it is a beginning. We have to go and learn how to put a tilak. Srila Prabhupada did that. Prabhupada taught us even how to pass through. Yes, Prabhupada did that. Because some people in our life before coming to Krishna consciousness, we have no single principle. We don't know what is decency. We don't know how to talk to people. We have a language which is very, very rough and so dangerous, so painful to the heart. So these courses will help us to let us understand how we should use our words, the importance of using our His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara said, our words are like lotus flowers and they are like bricks, stone. Depending on how we are groomed. And we can either stone somebody or can shower someone with lotus flowers. It depends on our training, our home training. So before we enter into these deep scriptures or even understand these deep scriptures we are studying, there's a need for training. I have this one thing which is always disturbing my mind. I have to say it. I've seen that in this one we have so many training things, so many training. We even have a GBC college. I attended GBC college. Some people are trained GBC college. There are so many other leadership training going on. It's called leads. They are doing training. They are doing so many things. In this school, we are doing so many things. And at the same time, this is my complaint. Thomas, this is my complaint. So, what is that? That all the training we are doing, it is an intellect level. I want to see the training that is going to the heart. I want that culture. That is idea of the Bhakti Sadachara. So that we can be trained to develop that quality that will make us actually a bona fide disciple, or a bona fide Krishna conscious person, a bona fide representative of Krishna. It depends on change of heart, not changing our intellect. It is what I have been observing, and it is giving me a lot of concern. So good that you brought this idea. We're going to study Bhagavad Gita. Yes, there are so many people who have the whole 700 verses of Gita in their head, and they can recite it like Kesava Kashmir. And after that, what? Still lamenting, they're still frustrated, they're still despondent, they're still depressed, they're still lonely. That is a disgrace to our scriptures. It's a disgrace to our tradition. It's a disgrace to our charities. That this one devotee feels lonely, feels depressed, feels bewildered, and with all these negative energies, devotees are still feeling them. Why? We have the best philosophy, but our social nature is very, very small. Our social dealing with each other is very, very small. Why? The heart is not being trained. Our intellect is being maintained and trained. Therefore, there's a need for this character development training, so that we know how to deal with each other, we know how to appreciate each other, we know how to behave in a public, in a group. If I'm alone, it's okay. But when we are 2, 3, 4, there's a different way how to do what I've been doing alone in my house. Even though it's the same thing I'm doing in my house, I'm going to do everywhere. But in a public, there's a way I have to compose myself to do the same thing. That needs training. You need grooming. You have to be groomed. You have to be prepared. And that preparation is the foundation that will help us to enter into pure Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. So a wonderful explanation on that question, Maharaj. In short, I would say, if someone asks why Bhakti Sadachar course, then His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj says, because it will help in change of heart, not just change of intellect. And that change of heart is very much required if you want to become a good devotee. So Bhakti Sadachar course will bring that transformation of heart. Now, a question to you, Maharaj. I have seen you personally take a lot of interest in studying Shastras. You yourself like to study scriptures. You also have done Bhakti Shastri course. Every year during the GBC meetings in Mayapur, you go for so many courses, attend the classes, make notes also. So from your personal experience, do you think, Maharaj, that if devotees, they seriously studied the books, they will be much more happy and satisfied in the spiritual life?
Very few devotees, very few devotees. Of course, I'm not surprised, because according to Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said that out of thousands of people who approach him, who come, out of thousands of people who approach him, thousands become perfect. And out of those thousands who are perfect, he hardly find one who knows me in truth. That is true, and it is happening, and I'm seeing it. And many of us are studying the scriptures. We take the certificate and put it in our bag, or we frame it and put it in our parlor, so that our children can see, our friends will come and see. And that's all. Many people are not using it properly. And some are using it to teach other people, but they themselves don't have the purified heart that we are teaching people out of compassion. Not because I know, not because I'm the senior, but because you have compassion for people. Therefore, I'm taking interest to share what I have with devotees, so that the devotees can also become very successful in their Christian consciousness. Successful in Christian consciousness, I mean they're becoming perfect, becoming pure, becoming a bona fide representative of acharyas. Not the success of having many thousands of followers or congregational members of amenities in our temple or whatever. That is not what I mean. Success in our Krishna consciousness, how much are we becoming pure? What is the quality of our surrendering to Krishna? What is the level of our loyalty to our acharyas or this system? So very few people I'm seeing that they're following that path.
Yes, Maharaj. So, but Maharaj, what do you think, if they actually study the books seriously and apply it, they'll be much more happy in their spiritual life, individually?
Definitely, yes, because I mentioned before, these books, they are not ordinary books. If we associate with them, I would refer every devotee to follow the technique given by his great Guru Jan Prabhu. He calls it prayerful reading. I cannot forget that prayerful reading. I wish every devotee can follow that technique, prayerful reading. I have a practical experience about the potency that comes in this practice of prayerful reading. The potency is it is very encouraging, very encouraging. So I wish every devotee can take this formula of prayerful reading. What is prayerful reading? Prayerful reading connects us with what we are reading. What we read in Bhagavad Gita is what? Krishna, Arjuna, pure devotees, pure bhakti, pure practices, and Bhagavatam. The same thing. If we do prayerful reading, our approach to this scripture will be wonderful, and the benefits wonderful. Purification wonderful. That is guaranteed.
Yes, Maharaj. Very nicely answered, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Now I'll come to one question, Maharaj, regarding Bhakti Shastri. Srila Prabhupada wanted all the devotees to do Bhakti Shastri. And then we have a norm also in ISKCON that if you are a Bhakti Shastri past student, then only you can get second initiation, you can have a responsible post or position in the society. So why Srila Prabhupada gives so much emphasis on Bhakti Shastri, that everyone must do Bhakti Shastri?
Because, as I mentioned before, if you don't do Bhakti Shastri, basically means what? We're not studying our scripture to become Gyanis. We are studying our scripture to become Bhaktas. So, Prabhupada wants us to be a devotee. Why we should join this movement? For what? We join this movement to become a devotee. And how will we become a devotee? We have to know our scriptures. Like in a Roman Catholic, which I came from, I have a Roman Catholic background. Every priest, for you to become a priest, you have to do this training, know all the scriptures. You know the Bible. You have to do Bible study. You know all the Bible completely. because that is our literature. This is our what do you call it? Our manual. This is our manual. This is our guide. This is where we belong. It's our companion. So we should Prabhupada wanted to do this so that we know this philosophy. We should know this philosophy. It is, according to Rupa Goswami, every one of us suffers in this world due to ignorance. Similarly, the knowledge is what is going to remove us from this ignorance, from suffering. And we will be removed from ignorance due to taking shelter of Krishna by understanding what is the relationship between us and Krishna, what we're supposed to do in that relationship, and what is the goal of our relationship, what is our natural relationship, our natural occupation. This we will get from studying the scripture. So Prabhupada wanted us to do the Bhakti Sastri so that we have the foundation and we are standing on the firm ground. If somebody, I remember Goranga Prabhu. He was one of the lecturers I had. He was speaking. How one day Srila Prabhupada was challenged by one. We as students do not know our scriptures, and Srila Prabhupada called one female disciple, and that female disciple knows Sri Upanishad. She knows only four slokas. Then, that time she knows only 4 slokas. She's learning, but she had mastered the 4. So when this person challenged the Prabhupada just called, amazing, Prabhupada. He just called that particular girl, and the girl was afraid. I'm going to recite the whole 18 mantras. I don't know the whole mantra. But Prabhupada called her. Then the Prabhupada says, recite. Immediately she started reciting 1, 2, 3, 4. Prabhupada stopped. That's enough. Hey! So he pointed. See? Can you see? And the man was silent. So if this devotee, if you don't know the scripture, how are we going to represent this movement nicely? People are going to look down on us. These Hare-Krishna people, they only what is the complaint from Prakashananda Saraswati? Chanting Hare-Krishna mantra in the street. This is sentimentality. This is usually this is low class. You don't know the scripture. But if we study Bhakti Sastri, we know the scripture, we can represent ISKCON everywhere. We will be protected. We will protect ourselves, and also we'll be able to represent this movement and present this movement. You can represent the movement and present the movement to people in such a way that they will have respect for this movement, and that also will encourage them to join the movement. So it's very important for us to study the scriptures. And Prabhupada wanted that. If you're a Brahmana, why are you a Brahmana if you don't know the scripture? A Brahmana should be the one who knows the scripture, not by trade. We should know the scripture. One of the duties of a Brahmana is that he has to preach. You have to preach the philosophy to people. And ISKCON is a preaching movement. If you don't know this philosophy, what are we going to preach? We will disgrace the movement. As somebody asks a question, we're not able to defend it. So we want to defend the movement, not just defend the movement from the negative activity. We'll be able to make them feel comfortable to have this desire to join the movement.
Yes, Maharaj. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for pointing that out, that since we are devotees of Krishna, we should know Bhagavad Gita properly. Just like if someone is a Christian, he should know the Bible. If someone is following Islam, he should know Quran. And if we are devotees of Krishna, we should know Bhagavad Gita. If you allow, Maharaj, I'll share one incident from my life, true incident. It's a confession. Like a few years ago, I visited one astrologer for some temple-related seva. And that astrologer was from Madhva Sampradaya. Very learned devotee, very good devotee with nice standards. So he was a priest in a temple of Lord Tirupati. Balaji. So I went there, and then I came to know he's a very good astrologer, and he saw that I was a bit worried in life. So he asked me, "Are you a full-time devotee in ISKCON?" I said, "Yes." So he said, "Do you know Bhagavad Gita fully?" I said, "No." So he said, "Then what are you doing in ISKCON? If you have joined ISKCON, you should know the entire Gita. If you don't know Gita, then what are you doing in ISKCON?" So I was very ashamed that day that someone pointed out to me, an outsider, that if you are a devotee, you should know Gita. If you don't know Gita, what's the point in being a devotee? So you are also telling something similar, Maharaj, that if we are devotees, we should know these books very well so that we can represent Krishna very nicely. And another question, Maharaj, related to personal application and preaching application. Few days back, in our temple, a brahmachari class was going on, and one devotee, the speaker, said that many preachers, they don't do good sadhanas in long run. They're so busy in preaching that they skip studying, they skip sadhana, they skip mangalati, they skip japa. So how much it is important to concentrate both on preaching and self-study, that we preach also and we study also.
Preaching is not an exercise like a drama. Preaching is a science. A drama, you can go and rehearse and come back to the stage, come on stage and demonstrate. That is completely different from preaching. So many devotees, they want to give class, they just go to Big Guitar, this and that. Oh, these days it's very easy, just go to the net, just make some research, got some information. Okay, get a lot of information and keep. Okay, I'm going to speak for 1 hour. Just come on offload and go. That is not preaching. That is actually a misrepresentation. Because nobody is going to be affected by that. What is the potency? Our chariots are able to affect us because of the potency they have. So this artificial life can never affect anybody. In the 64 principles of communities in the Bhakti Dhira Damodara Svami, he mentioned one is considered the karma kandi. If he's not studying Bhagavad Gita but he's preaching Bhagavad Gita, it's a karma kandi. And what is that? It does not make sense to. What are we preaching? That is not a preaching. We should not call it preaching. It's not preaching at all. Preaching is a science. It's about changing the heart of the audience. How are we going to do that if you are not studying the Gita? Or we are going to read the Gita only to get some information to go and preach when we're going to give lecture? We do that. No. If we are going to preach, and will be considered a preacher only if we are deeply studying the scriptures, deeply, scientifically, we are deeply studying, not just to go and preach to somebody, but to preach ourselves. In this way, we will become pure by the association with the Gita and the personalities in the Gita. We become pure, become powerful, that when we speak, the people will have effect. And the heart will be changed because purification will come. That is preaching. So I would not consider it a preaching for devotees who simply have no time to read. They have no time to do sadhana because they are very busy doing so many services. In fact, that is also not service. It's not service. It's mechanical, because if one, it is a principle. It's a principle here in Lagos Temple. No one is qualified to cook if you don't chant at least minimum rounds, 4 rounds. The same principle with the pujari. Because this is not just an activity. This is bhakti. It's an offering to Krishna. So I will not consider someone a preacher. I won't consider any person wonderful devotee or consider that a service if one is not chanting no Mangalati. That is very, very dangerous and risky life living. So management proper said even so, all devotees should be encouraged to attend compulsorily the Mangalati and chant 16 on minimum. every day. Then we can do any services we have to do. If we don't do this thing, what we're doing, it is mechanical. It is not devotional service. And it's not going to keep us long in the movement. And if we stay long in the movement, it will become a problem to the movement.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that reminder that actually we need to preach out of compassion, and it's a science. It is not a karma kanda business. So, Maharaj, next question. What kind of devotees would you encourage to go for high-level courses like Bhakti-vaibhava and Bhakti-vedanta, where we study Srimad Bhagavatam and other sections of writings of Srila Prabhupada? What kind of devotees would you encourage for such courses?
I will encourage all senior devotees to go for this. All senior devotees should go for this. Senior means what? We are the leaders. We are the leaders. We are the head. So if we don't do, how are we going to lead? And how are we going to be called a leader? A leader means what? Who knows? Like it's expected that the sannyasi should give a good class. You should know the scripture that when I come and meet you, you should answer me. You should give me a good answer, sastrically, according to Shastra, and yeah, in a very potent way. It's expected like that. My spiritual master should be able to deal with my issue nicely, scientifically, very nicely, that should be satisfied and feel protected. How are we going to do that if we don't study the scriptures? You don't know the scripture. How will we do that? That is the expectation of every devotee. Yes, my guru should know the scripture. The guru should be the first person there. He should be the first person there. Then he should be the first person there. That yes, everybody would like that. So I would recommend that all of us senior devotees should be considered senior only if we are leading, studying the scriptures. Then you can share with those whom we call junior. Is it not embarrassing that a temple president, or you are 60 years in the movement, or 100 years in the movement, you are a guru or sannyasi or a manager, even a long time devotee in the scripture, and a devotee just asks you just a simple question, you cannot answer it. Is it embarrassing? Yes. And how would that be a representation for the movement? That is wrong. So, senior devotees especially, everyone should study the scripture, but especially senior devotees should do these courses. So we can share it with it. It will make sense because there is a natural psychology. Natural. You don't have to go anywhere to study. Natural psychology is that when we see the leaders ahead, everybody would like to follow. And we also like to hear from the seniors. Even if they are nonsense, we would like to hear from them because senior means what? That they should know better. They should be the best guide. That we say something is something for our own benefit, and they know exactly what they're telling us. So if they don't study the scriptures, it is part of our problem. That the seniors are the one actually creating faithlessness in the movement. It is the seniors that are creating faithlessness, hopelessness in the movement. It is the seniors, not the genius. It is seniors that are bringing down the trust of the devotees. You see, if a junior devotee, break principle, what effect does it have? If a junior devotee break principle, it doesn't have effect. Let a guru break the principle, the whole world will be affected. Therefore, it is the seniors who should do these things and become proper seniors so they can guide us properly.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for putting light on that. I read in a book of leadership by His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Maharaj. He said that if the leaders are not making progress, they can no longer continue to inspire the followers.
Exactly.
So what you said is very true, Maharaj. And Marj, now we see that at VIH we do these courses which are very intensive. You are also currently teaching Bhakti Shastri, 2 classes in a day, 3 to 4 hours of study and then self-study. So the courses are very intense. There are other options of studies also where the courses are not so intense, like weekend courses or studying only for 1 or 2 classes in a week. So why you think, Maharaj, that the courses with greater intensity, like we do in in VIH, they are more purifying and they are more potent than the courses which are done just on the weekends?
That you a very good question. Everyone knows common sense. Everyone knows common sense. In the college, the student who goes to school from Monday to Friday, and the student who is going to do the same study for only 2 days in a week, it is common sense. Everybody knows that. The student who have been there studying nicely Monday to Friday will be better. He's superior to the student who is coming 2 times a week. No matter how powerful and intelligent you are, you cannot be the same. It is not possible. You cannot be the same. Even if you are Brihaspati, there will be difference. There will be difference between the devotee who have been doing 5 days a week and you are doing 2 days a week. It will be different. Even materially speaking, if you're going to work for 2 days a week, you're a businessman, business lady, you go to your shop, you go to your office 2 days a week, and someone is going 5 days a week, you think you're going to make the same amount of money? It doesn't work like that. Yes, we are not condemning the fact that many devotees will not be able to give five months out of the year for studying the scripture. So they are doing it within the week. That is very good, very good. It's encouraging. We encourage that and we appreciate them, but we should know the fact that you cannot compare with those who are doing 5 days a week or 6 days a week, and they're studying throughout the whole day. It cannot be the same. It is not the same. There is a great difference. If it is Holy Govinda Maharaj, he will say the difference is like heaven and hell. It's great. It's great. So we encourage devotees to study the scripture, whichever way they can to study the scripture. We should know that those who are seriously doing it continuously, intensively, they carry more benefit. They carry more amount of purification.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. So now some questions with some practical inputs from you, Maharaj. How can we put into practice what we study and read? What is the science to do that? We study so much, we read so much, we make notes also, and we preach about it. But how to apply it in life?
Actually, when we preach, when we study, or when we hear, it is for ourselves. If we are very, very sincere, it is for ourselves. When every time I'm starting teaching, every time, I want to make this point very, very clear to the student's heart. Every time. This is my principle. When you take Bhagavad Gita in your hand, what are you trying to do? We want to hear what Krishna wants to tell us. What is Krishna telling us? Something which is for our own benefit. Like someone is sick and they have gone to a doctor. The doctor has diagnosed you carefully and have seen what is the problem and is giving medicine according to that the problem. A patient what to do if you want to be cured. Then take the medicine as prescribed by the physician. In the same way, we are studying the scriptures. It is very, very important for us to apply it. In Chaitanya Bhagavad, Vrindavan Das Thakur said, when devotees hear something, when devotees hear, one who actually hears, what do? We meditate upon that. When would this be my life? When will it become my own life also? At the house, and so devotee, he did like this, he prayed like this, he worshiped like this, and get the result. So devotee is meditating about that. When, oh Krishna, when will this become my own life? So we are working towards it. This is a practical thing. We should not go to Krishna if you are not going to practice what Krishna is telling us. We should not go there. Otherwise, we are wasting Krishna time and wasting our own time. If we have gone there, then we should know. We should know that we have to practice it. So whatever we hear, we should practice it. And I also keep repeating this in my classes. Whatever we are learning, whatever we are reading, whatever we are hearing, please practice it in our lives. I repeat this regularly in my classes. We should practice it. Otherwise, why are we here? What are we doing? Is it that we have nothing to do? Okay, let me just go and while away my time. Just so I'm so frustrated. Let me just go and even if one is frustrated and coming to Gita, Arjuna was frustrated when he came to Krishna. So Krishna gave him powerful instruction. He followed it, became successful. So we should practice what we hear, what we're hearing, what we're reading, what we're studying. We should practice them every day. Every day should become like we eat every day, we bathe every day, we sleep every day, we eat every day. The same thing should be in our life. We should practice what we are hearing every day. Then it will become a reality.
Yes, Maharaj. And a last question for today, Maharaj. What is the difference between reading and studying? And why is it beneficial to hear from a teacher or to study in association of other devotees?
Oh, very good. The difference between reading and studying. Even today, we're talking about that. We're talking about this to the devotees and Bhakti Sastric student. I always point out a statement from Srila Prabhupada's purport. What the Srila Prabhupada meant by this? What is the meaning of this? What Prabhupada say this statement? What does it mean? If you are reading, you are not hearing that. You won't get it. You won't get it. It's studying. So I told devotee, I'm doing it because we are studying. We should be able to give more attention. Be very careful. Reading we just blah blah blah. Just finish, get something you want to get, go and preach to people. Finish. Study is different. Study means we are scrutinizing everything. So I like what I do. I read all the purport of Prabhupada and I share that with devotees, and I help devotees to understand. See this thing here, Prabhupada wrote this here. What does it mean? This sentence, what is this statement? What is the meaning? Or this word Prabhupada used here, what is the meaning? This is study, and I keep repeating this to the student. We are studying, therefore we should see what the reading cannot see. That is the difference. We should know, we should be more attentive. It's not just I just want to while away. No, it's a study, a scrutiny. And Prabhupada used that word. You should scrutinizingly study the scriptures. That is the difference. I will scrutinize very carefully. Therefore, it is meditation. So we'll get more thing out of this. We notice that when you have read a passage or a paragraph or a whole purport, and somebody asks a question from the same pages, we'll be bewildered. So I'm helping devotees to understand. See in this purport, see this word, see this sentence, see this. This is let us try to understand this. Suppose you are giving class in a temple, and the devotees point out this. What will you say? So I'm doing this regularly with devotees, with students, so that it is study. Something you cannot read and see. Study can help you to see. And you're asking, what is the importance of doing things with teacher? The teacher will help you to see the thing you will not see yourself. And I'm doing it regularly with the student. they could see that they read the passage, they don't see what I'm pointing out to them inside the purport, not a different purport, the same purport they have read. I'm pointing out, what is this? They have not seen it. So if we study this thing with the seniors who have experience, it is better. We will get more than what we would not get by ourselves. When we study together, it's very, very, very powerful, very important, because the things which we do together, we are sharing energy. One the Bhakti Sastric student is asking another student. This question here, we are discussing here, but we have not heard from you. Please, Prabhu, can you bring your own answer to this question so we can share it? Why? It means that they have read, but they couldn't find it. But a teacher will help you to see it, to see what you cannot see. And when we read like we're sharing energy, we're complementing each other like that. This is complement. So it is very, very important for us to do this, to study together, to read together with other devotees, study under a person who knows, who is more experienced than us. As a teacher. This is my experience.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. All your answers were so heart-touching, enlightening, and really, really powerful. It shook the consciousness of all those who heard it well. We thank you very much for all the time that you took out for this session, Maharaj, and thank you for the wonderful answers. Ever grateful to you for this opportunity to associate with you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. It's a pleasure to be with all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we once again thank His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Svami Maharaj for taking out so much of time for us, the viewers who are watching it live on Facebook and via YouTube channel of VIHA. Thank you, Maharaj, once again for all the wonderful answers. As Maharaj said, reading can be sometimes just an entertainment, but studying is a meditation. It's a science, and we need to learn that science from those who know that science. So when we go through these courses like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti-vaibhava, etc., we learn the science from more experienced devotees of how to study the books, how to apply the books, and how to properly preach the message given in the books to others. In that way, we become a good representative of the acharyas, good representative of Lord Krishna, we become a good devotee, and we become happy devotees. So now we encourage all the devotees to kindly visit VIHA website and inquire about VIHA courses. VIHA is already running a series of courses, and the other courses that are upcoming in future are Bhakti-vaibhava Canto 3, that's in December 2021 to April 2022. Then we have Bhakti-vedanta Part 4, Canto 10. Dwarka Leela, again December 2021 to April 2022. Following that, next year we have Bhakti Sadachar course, Bhakti Shastri course, Bhakti-vaibhava Canto 1. So all the devotees are requested to kindly enroll for these courses. The details can be found on the website, and also you can contact VIHA by writing at courses@viha.org, or you can call on the number +91 8979943134. Thank you all very much for being with us. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.